According to a Republican political insider here in the state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is gambling away his political future by trying to force the public to accept that his wife, Casey DeSantis, should be the next governor of the state. Now, here in Florida, we have term limits on governorships, but it's weird term limits, right? So Ron DeSantis is term limited and cannot run for office again because he will have served 8 years. His term ends, or the next election is November of 2026, the same as the midterms. However, if he sits out a term, he is then eligible to run again because our term limits only cover 2 consecutive terms and leave open to running in the future after you've sat out a session. But either way, he can't run in 2026, but by God, he still wants a DeSantis in that governor's mansion. So DeSantis is actually trying to hype up his wife, Casey, who has 0 political experience, so that voters will accept her as the next governor. But there's a problem, and this is why DeSantis is gambling away his political future. Trump doesn't want it to be Casey DeSantis. Trump wants it to be Florida Republican Representative Byron Donalds. And Trump has made that explicitly clear. But nevertheless, Ron and Casey DeSantis were both recently seen dining with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, schmoozing, and then the DeSantises went out and did an event where Ron introduced his wife, saying that, I've had people coming up to me for years begging to get her into the fray. And then, of course, he praised her work on spurring cancer research, on programs to build resiliency against mental health challenges, and on Hope Florida, which works to connect businesses and nonprofits with families in need. Oh, she's great, isn't she? But the insider had this to say. This would undoubtedly be the hardest fight the DeSantises have ever had. Can Governor DeSantis risk it? Lord knows he cares about his legacy, probably more than most. If Casey loses, you could say goodbye to any 28 presidential run. But here's the thing. If Casey DeSantis were the Republican nominee for governor in 2026, then Casey DeSantis would be the next governor of Florida after the 2026 election. Her complete lack of political experience doesn't matter. I mean, Rick Scott became our governor with absolutely no political experience. I mean, technically, Casey DeSantis, as the First Lady of Florida, had more political experience than Rick Scott did. So that's not going to impact anybody. The problem is not the general election. The problem is a bloody Republican primary. Because if Donald Trump comes out and endorses a different person like Byron Donalds, then Casey DeSantis' chances of winning that Republican primary plummet. So Ron has to tread lightly. He can only make his wife run for office, which I don't think he'd be making her. I think she's been the one calling the shots for a long time. She would have to be the one to calculate that very carefully. Because if there is even an inkling that you are not going to win that primary, a run for office would kill your husband's future presidential ambitions. So we have to wait and see. But that race is going to start heating up very soon. And that one's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. Does Florida go with the inexperienced First Lady? Or do they go with Byron Donalds, who Trump likes? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. We got fresh content every day for you. And if you want to follow us across social media, make sure you check out all of the social links that we have posted in the description of this video.